Hello and welcome back to Off the Beaten Pot, bringing great food back to the great outdoors. My name is Tom and today we are looking at 7 mistakes you can't afford to make while cooking in the outdoors. So before I get into this list, we're not talking about the big mistakes that one can make when going outside. You know, there's lots of things you need to do to make sure you're safe, and there are plenty of videos, plenty of information, plenty of courses to do that. So today we're really looking at the food specific things. These are mistakes you can't afford to make. Every single one is a mistake I've made in the past. So let's get it started with mistake number 1, and that is not taking enough fuel. I've talked about in other videos taking too much fuel, and I've also talked about how to combat that, but it's also not taking enough fuel. So it's always worth taking more than you think you need, but when it's a weight consideration, you do need to sort that out. This is great. I've talked about this before. I would probably do a video on this. This amazing Trangia fuel tub. They do it in 3 different sizes: huge, middle and small. Different things can affect fuel, altitude, temperature, that sort of thing. So I'll do a completely different video about that. If that's something that you think would interest you, let me know in the comments below. So number 1, not taking enough fuel. Right, that's going to fall down again. But so getting on to it, number 2, and that is not getting enough calories. It's relatively easy to count the calories. Every calorie counts. Certainly there are good calories, there are bad calories, but you want enough calories to get you through and to maintain enough energy while you're out hiking. Plenty of ways of doing this, plenty of advice. 1, follow the recipes on this channel, and I generally give how many calories are with it. You might have your own systems, but same as cooking at home, if that's how you're going to go, you know what fills you up, you know what doesn't, except you are burning a lot more calories when you're out and about. So it is recommended that you keep topped up on those calories, and one great way of doing that is trail mix. A number of snacks that you can keep close by in your backpack, in your pockets. I am going to be doing okay, need to sort that out. That'll do for now. I am going to be doing a video on how to top up your calories. I'm going to be doing some trail mix, some top 5 snacks, etc., all that jive. So I'll be making that video soon enough as a part of my not quite going out yet series that are taking place in my obviously room for improvement studio setup. It's changed from the last video, and that's because all of the shelves fell off the wall, so I've gone for a different setup. So not getting enough calories. Number 3, and that is not drinking enough and not finding enough water. So I always take a 1 litre bottle with me, and I make sure that I have a look at the water sources before I go out, and if we're going to pass any. If we're really not going to pass any, then obviously you can take a camel pack, increase the amount of water you're going to take, but it's worth having a look at roughly the area of where you're going to be spending your time. And this comes on to number 4, which is not planning. It's really important to plan, especially when you're walking out the trail, out in the great outdoors, in the outback, in the backcountry, wherever you do your hiking. Just know your plan. Oh, it's gonna go. Okay, we'll sort that out later. So yeah, know your plan, know what water sources you're going to go by, know if it looks like a really heavy terrain. So do you need to top up on calories? Are you going to give yourself a bee sting? If you're going to give yourself a bee sting, do you need to cook food that soothes that at the end of the day? All part of the plan. You probably plan where you're going to spend the night. You're probably going to plan how you get to where you're going to start your walk. So why not plan your food? And that includes the water sources as well. So yeah, like I just said, you've got to plan, and that goes for pretty much everything here. Certainly number 1, not taking enough fuel, that's down to plan, a bit of foresight, and also a bit of knowledge. If you're going out for the first time ever, maybe stock up with a bit more fuel, or practice with your Trangia at home, practice a few meals and know how much fuel it takes, and always take a glug more. Not getting enough calories, that's lack of planning. Not drinking, finding enough water, lack of planning. And that takes us on to number 5, which is not taking a second fire source, and this includes as well how to make fire. There's loads of videos on that. I'm not going to be doing a video on how to make fire anytime soon, because there are literally millions of videos of people doing an incredibly good job of this, and I do most of my walking around Dartmoor where open fires are prohibited, so that is why I don't you've not yet seen me cook on a fire, because I've not had the opportunity yet. So obviously I take a lighter usually, but I also take, and I can't recommend these enough, ferrule rods. You strike it to get sparks, which is many times will get you a fire. Loads of hints and tips again on how to use a ferro rod, lighting stick. Can't recommend it enough, and all you need is friction, so you don't need to rely on the mechanism of a lighter. You just need friction. Okay, another big mistake, number 6, is thinking it's difficult to cook and either tripping yourself up while you're out there or not even starting. And it's important to know that cooking is just cooking. Whether you're cooking at home, a lot of people think they can't cook, but even if it's just a bacon sandwich, even if it's just eggs, fried eggs, scrambled egg, even if it's just a bit of toast, you can cook, and don't let the fact that you think you can't put you off. Or if you're going to cook what you cook at home that doesn't involve a microwave, even if it's a ready meal that needs reheating, it can be easy, and it just takes a bit of practice and planning at home. So quite an easy one, just a bit of practice knowing your setup. So I've got a lot of different stoves, etc., and whenever I buy a new one, apart from maybe a new Trangia, because they're the same system within different systems, I have a little practice, and I generally cook an easy thing. It might be boiling pasta, or even a quick noodle, which I have a recipe for. But again, if you don't want to put them together, but you still need to heat your food, and you don't want to spend £1 million on a jet boil, then practice at home, practice in the kitchen, practice on an oven tray on the hob, practice outside. Just practice. It's just worth knowing the limitations of your stove before you head out anyway. So yes, number 6, thinking it's difficult to cook, because it's not. So long as you're cooking outside and eating well, then that's my goal on this channel, as you're probably well aware. And that leads me on quite nicely to tip number 7, which is probably the biggest mistake you can make when it comes to cooking outdoors, and that is not subscribing to Off the Beaten Pot. So if you've made it this far, please consider liking, commenting, dinging the bell for more videos on how to get the best out of your cook sets, make the best meals, and enjoy it all outside in the great, glorious, wonderful outdoors. So my name is Tom, and I will see you in another episode of Off the Beaten Pot. Cheers and gone.
Enchanté.